It started like any other morning. 16-year-old Adrienne Ewing clipped the leash onto her golden retriever and stepped outside for her usual Saturday walk. Her mother, Marissa, watched from the porch with a warm mug in hand, not knowing it would be the last time she saw either of them. No cries for help, no struggle, just gone. For a year, there was nothing. No tracks, no suspects, just a dog and a girl swallowed by the woods. Until a hunter flying a thermal drone over the Coeur d'Alene forest saw a heat signature that made his blood run cold and triggered a chain of discoveries darker than anyone imagined. Welcome to Echo Stories. Subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories. Part 1, The Dog That Shouldn't Have Survived. July 8, 2023, Lakeland, Idaho. 16-year-old Adrienne Ewing disappeared during her usual morning walk with her golden retriever buddy. No phone call, no sighting, no clues. Authorities searched the wooded areas, brought in dogs, drones, helicopters, and found nothing. The case went cold. Then exactly 1 year later, the phone rang at Marissa Ewing's home. A hunter named Dale Morrison had been tracking elk using a thermal drone deep in the Coeur d'Alene National Forest. On his screen, a heat signature flickered, small, canine shape tied to a tree. He assumed it was a stray or a coyote, but when he zoomed in, it was a golden retriever. It was Buddy. Marissa rushed to the vet clinic where he was being examined. Sedated but alive. Buddy was thinner but clearly fed and showing signs of being regularly cared for. The veterinarian even found fresh dog food in his stomach eaten within the last 12 hours. But that wasn't all. Buddy had rope burns around his neck, and his collar had been swapped. No name, no tags. Whoever had been keeping him didn't want him found. And yet, they left him to be discovered. Why? Why keep the dog alive for a year only to leave him where a drone might spot him? Marissa gripped Buddy's fur as he slept on the table, the last thread connecting her to her missing daughter. And in that moment, and for the first time in months, something cracked through the grief. Hope. Part 2, The Cabin and the Drone Footage. When Dale Morrison handed over the thermal drone footage to authorities, they reviewed it frame by frame. In one short clip, just behind the glowing outline of the dog, a rectangular heat signature blinked briefly and then vanished. Could be a cabin one officer guessed, or someone watching. The problem, that part of the forest wasn't supposed to have any permanent structures. But when officers hiked to the coordinates, they found the overgrown remnants of a hunting cabin long abandoned. Or so it seemed. Inside, it smelled of earth and rust. A rusted wood stove, torn blankets, empty cans. But in the back, a small wooden chest, locked. When opened, it reveals something chilling. A girl's hoodie, pink with white stripes. A spiral notebook with drawings signed AE. And at the bottom, a photo. It was Adrienne, eyes wide, pale, taken in dim light. She looked directly at the camera. Not posed, not smiling, just staring. The date on the back was 6 months after she disappeared, which meant she had been alive at least that long. The sheriff's department launched a new manhunt. Game cameras were set up, dogs brought in again, helicopters scanned for new clearings. But the cabin was abandoned. No footprints, no signs of struggle, nothing to trace. But the question kept ringing louder. If Adrienne was alive 6 months ago, where was she now? And more importantly, who had been feeding her dog this entire time? And why leave him behind? Marissa clutched the hoodie the officers returned to her. This was hers, she whispered. She's out there, I can feel it. Part 3, The Hidden Trail. Just 2 days after the cabin discovery, one of the sheriff's deputies noticed something strange in the drone footage that hadn't been caught the first time. The dog Buddy had not been tied to a tree in the open as previously assumed. Instead, the thermal footage showed a faint, narrow footpath behind him, nearly invisible to the eye. It led away from the cabin, deeper into forest no one had searched. A search team was dispatched immediately. They followed the path for hours, stepping over decaying logs and through tall brush. Eventually, the trail curved along a ravine and disappeared into a cut in the earth, a narrow opening in a hillside covered by branches. A deputy pushed through. It opened into a shallow dugout shelter. Dirt floor, makeshift wooden beams, a lantern, stacked cans of food, and then on the ground, scrawled in charcoal on the wall, "Someone help me, I'm Adrienne, I can't get out." The team called for backup. No one was inside, but near the corner, buried under a pile of tarp, they found something more. A flip phone out of battery. When charged, it contained only 3 photos, all selfies. Adrienne, same hoodie, thinner, dirtier. In one, she was smiling faintly. In another, she looked terrified. The third, a blurry image of a man's shadow holding something long. Maybe a tool, maybe a weapon. His face never showed, but Adrienne had tried to document him. tried to leave a trail. She had clearly escaped or had been moved. And now the hunt wasn't just about finding Adrienne. It was about catching the man who'd kept her hidden for over a year. Part 4, The Man in the Smokehouse. The search intensified. With new evidence from the hidden shelter photos handwriting and a possible suspect, police began canvassing old Forest Service records. That's when a name surfaced: Harold Keene, a former trapper who once leased hunting rights in that same section of the Coeur d'Alene Forest. Convicted in 1998 of unlawful confinement of a teenage girl, Harold had served 10 years before disappearing into the woods after parole. No known address, no phone, but he had once owned a smokehouse cabin deep in the range nearly 4 miles north of where Buddy had been found. The team geared up. They approached the site at dawn with caution, guns drawn, thermal drones overhead. The smokehouse looked decrepit, collapsing roof, faded walls, but a fire pit still smoldered. Someone had been there recently. Inside, they found a cot with blankets, duct tape, several wigs, and hidden beneath floorboards, a video camera and a child's diary. The diary had her name on the first page, Adrienne Ewing. Page after page described fear, loneliness, manipulation. The man had convinced her no one was looking. He says the world moved on, that my mom forgot, but I dream of her. I know she didn't. The last entry was dated only 4 days prior. That meant one thing: Adrienne was still alive and had only recently been in that cabin. Officers found small blood drops on the floor and a broken shoelace, drag marks near the rear door. She had been moved. Again, but not far, because that night, one of the trail cams triggered. And what it captured would finally turn the tide. Part 5, The Girl in the Headlights. At 2:42 a.m., a trail cam station just half a mile north of the smokehouse triggered. The motion sensor caught a figure, a girl running barefoot through the underbrush. Her hoodie was torn, her hair matted, but it was unmistakably Adrienne Ewing. Behind her, nothing. No captor, no dogs, just her. A search team was deployed instantly. They followed the trail downhill until a deputy spotted movement along a gravel forest road. "Adrienne," he shouted. She stopped, turned, then collapsed. The team rushed forward. She was alive, dehydrated, exhausted, but alive. She whispered only one thing before blacking out: "He fell. I ran." Later in the hospital, Adrienne confirmed what they'd suspected. The man, Harold Keene, had tried to relocate her again deeper into the mountains, but he slipped along a ravine. She ran for 2 days before reaching the cameras. Harold's body was recovered the next week, 300 feet down a rock face, his identity confirmed by fingerprint. Adrienne is now in therapy and in the care of her mother. Buddy, the golden retriever who never gave up, sleeps at the foot of her bed each night. And the trail cam photo, the one that showed her face blurred and frightened in the dark, it now hangs in the sheriff's office. A reminder that sometimes it isn't law or luck that breaks a case. It's a dog who survives and a girl who never stops believing her mother's love is stronger than the lies she's told. If this story moved you, share it. Let it remind the world that even in the darkest places, there's a way out. Subscribe to Echo Stories for true accounts of survival, discovery, and hope where the silence breaks and truth finally speaks. Because sometimes all it takes is a drone and a girl who kept running.